Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to do our NFL Week 10 predictions. Last week, I had a pretty good week predicting. I went 11-3, which put a total season record of 83-53. And before we continue with this week, a reminder that the Los Angeles Rams, Miami Dolphins, Philadelphia Eagles, and Kansas City Chiefs are all on byes. Three of the four teams have been one of the more entertaining teams to watch, and the other is the Rams. And unfortunately, we got to start off with Thursday Night Football, where the Carolina Panthers taking on the Chicago Bears. But as you can see, the Carolina Panther logo is nowhere present. That's because regardless of what happens in this game, the Bears are going to walk out a winner. Because if they lose, it enhances the Bears draft pick. If they win, it enhances their draft pick. Because if you don't know, the Bears own the Panthers' first round draft pick that they can sorely, desperately use. Both teams are amongst the worst in the league. There's no question about it. And this is going to be a tank bowl. One of the greatest games ever played. And you know what? Screw it, because this will probably be the only time I'll say this, but I'm going to take the Carolina Panthers to win. Just because, why not? And it's probably going to be the only time this season I'll say that. And then we have the final international game of the year, where the Indianapolis Colts will take on the New England Patriots in Frankfurt, Germany. Now, last week, Colts bounced back, particularly on their defense, which struggled all season. They had 2 pick sixes by Kenny Moore against the Carolina Panthers. But playing defense against the Carolina Panthers is not that hard to do. Meanwhile, the New England Patriots suffered a tough home loss to the Washington Commanders. And now we're beginning to hear rumors that Kraft has flew the idea of firing Belichick during their bye week next week, which is crazy to believe. I think this game, this one's a bit of a toss-up. I was gonna take the New England Patriots, but I am gonna pick the Indianapolis Colts to win because I trust them in their running game a lot more than I trust New England's. And Patriots, a bad season is gonna get worse. Following that up, we have what I think is gonna be a pretty good game. We have the Houston Texans taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Texans, CJ Stroud had himself a day and then some. 5 touchdown passes, 470 plus passing yards, which is an NFL rookie record. He surpassed Andrew Luck in that. And a come from behind victory against the Bucks. He's easily the player of the week last week. Meanwhile, the Bengals, they got a huge primetime win over the Bills. And their Bengals, they're hitting their stride. Joe Burrow, he's finally healthy. The offense is playing good. The defense is playing great. People don't acknowledge that. And Cincinnati, their little 1-3 start is beginning to look more like a distant memory. And because of the Cincinnati's hot streak, I do trust them a little more over the Houston Texans. But I won't be surprised if CJ Stroud give it all he got in this one. This one should be a good game. Next we have is the New Orleans Saints taking on the Minnesota Vikings. The Saints, they had a home win over the Bears, which they did got to a bit of a slow start, but thanks to their defense and secondary, they were able to overcome that and get the W. Meanwhile, Minnesota, Josh Dobbs, he came in cold, arrived to the team Tuesday. He doesn't know majority of his teammates' name, yet he somehow led a come from behind victory against the Atlanta Falcons. I know, this is the NFL. Dobbs is easily starting this week. The Vikings, a season that was supposed to be dead for them after Kirk Cousins got hurt, it still got life. I think this one's going to be a bit of a toss-up, but now that Dobbs has a week to prepare, I think the Saints are going to figure out what's going to come, and I am going to take the Saints to win and also because I trust their defense a lot more in this one. And then we have two inept offenses going up against each other. The Green Bay Packers taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a big congratulations to Mr. Tom Grossi of becoming the NFL Fan of the Year representative for the Green Bay Packers. And and speaking of more victories, the Packers coming off of another win over the Rams. They're just their third this year. Could they turn the corner? Well, maybe. Pittsburgh once again could not put together 4 quarters of quality football and had to rely on a heroic fourth quarter to get the win over the Tennessee Titans. They're somehow 5-3. I don't make this stuff up. This game, I don't know. This one's also a toss up, and I want to take Green Bay to win, but I'm gonna roll with the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're at home. They got the defense. They had 10 days rest. And if they could get that running game going against Green Bay, I think this could be a long one for the Packers. Follow that up, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And why do I feel like this game is like must win for both teams? For the Titans, they're coming off a tough primetime loss over the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Buccaneers, they let Houston off the hook and they are winless after the bye week, making me think that Todd Bowles, he's not the guy to be a head coach. He probably is going, if things keep up, he will be seeing another job somewhere next year. As for this game, now that Will Levis is the permanent starter, I don't know who to trust. I am going to take a slight gander on the Bucks. Hopefully they can rebound after their poor defensive performance. Offense for Tampa Bay surprisingly doing just fine. But I am going to take the Bucks over. I think the Bucks have a slight edge over the Tennessee Titans. And then we have a game that should have been flexed to the 4 slot, let alone Sunday night. The 49ers traveling to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Both teams are coming off of bye weeks. For one team, that bye week couldn't have come at a better time because the injuries started piling up, and luckily they're getting one of their star players back this week. And as for the other team, they're riding on a very hot streak after a 1-2 start. They have not lost since, and they're sneakily one of the better teams in the AFC. I almost said ACC. And you can take a guess on which teams I'm talking about. But as for this game, I do expect a very good game. As much as I want to take the Jacksonville Jaguars, I am putting my trust with the 49ers because Debo's coming back. Hopefully the defense can get it together. And plus, this game's in Jacksonville. 49ers going to flood that place. There's going to be a lot of red in that building. Following that up, we have a huge divisional game this week against the Cleveland Browns taking on the Baltimore Ravens. Browns had a shutout win over the Cardinals. Nothing too much spectacular over that. And for the Ravens, not only did they beat Seattle, they blew them out, only surrendering 3 points in that game. These are I think they're two of the best teams in the AFC North. And with this game being in Baltimore, I am going to give a quick slight edge over the Ravens because I trust their defense for once they're finally healthy. And the Ravens, they're quietly one of the best teams in the AFC. People just don't know it yet. Follow that up, we have the Atlanta Falcons taking on the Arizona Cardinals. And the less said about the last 2 weeks' previous games, the better. But the Cardinals are going to get a boost. Kyler Murray is set to make his season debut this week. And with the 4-1 win Cardinal, I don't know what that means, but we'll just have to wait and see. Falcons, well, they reverted back to old form in blowing leads. I don't know. This one can go in any direction. But I am going to put my trust in Atlanta. And by doing that, just watch the Arizona Cardinals get their second win of the season. Follow that up, we have a pretty good game here. Better game on paper than you think. We have the Detroit Lions taking on the Los Angeles Chargers. Lions are coming off a bye week where they last seen beating the Raiders. And the Los Angeles Chargers, they won two straight, which included a primetime Monday night win over the Jets. Think this game is going to be one of the fun games to watch. I do expect both QBs to put on air shows this week. And with this being, this one's a top. Normally I will lean towards the home team in this situation, but because the Lions have slightly better coaching, I am going to give the slight edge to the Lions. Also, they could be getting David Montgomery back, and if they do, that's going to be a big boost for this team. Trust me, the nation do not want to see this game ever again. Then we have the Washington Commanders taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Commanders coming off a big road win over the New England Patriots. And the Seattle Seahawks, just forget whatever happened to them last week. They pretty much threw away the tape from last week. They're moving on for this week. This game, I think this is going to be a sneaky good game. I do expect some offensive quality. I'm expecting more offensive consistency for the Seattle Seahawks. And with this game being in Lumen Field, I am going to give the edge to the Seattle Seahawks to win. But I will not be surprised if Washington win. And now we enter the primetime games of hell, where the New York Football Jets taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. But credit to the Raiders, they got a win over the New York Giants, now led by Antonio Pierce. Kudos to him. And if I'm correct, I recently read an article where the Raiders have a black coach now, a black general manager, and a black woman team president. So kudos to them. As for the Jets, they failed to find the end zone against the Chargers, which is very, very concerning given how bad the Chargers defense usually is. This game, I don't know. This one, I could go back and forth for this one. I could easily flip a coin here, but I am going to take the Raiders to win this game. Only because I just don't know. Nothing about these two teams makes sense. And the other primetime game from hell, the Buffalo Bills hosting the Denver Broncos. In NFL, you have this thing called flex scheduling. Why? And you only used it once this year. This would have been a perfect week to flex in games like, I don't know, the 49ers and Jaguars, or the Ravens and Browns, but yet you still going to keep these trash teams in prime time. Anyway, but kudos to at least for the Broncos, they're coming off a bye week and their biggest victory of the season by beating the Chiefs. Bills lost to the Bengals, and right now, they're in deep trouble, given how the AFC is. It's these defensive injuries that keeps happening to them every single year. Now, the Broncos are coming off a bye week, but since this game's in Buffalo, I am going to take the Bills to win. I think their offense will get back on track, but the Bills, they got to stop lollygagging, or else they're going to miss the playoffs, which I can see that happening. So tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.